Like I said, we're going to move from province to province throughout the evening. We'll be crossing to the Free State shortly, but let me just tell you what's happening there in terms of the National Assembly votes there in the Free State. The graphic is going to be up there. It is. It's up on your screen at the moment. Let's take a look at how the top four political parties are faring there with the 59.8% voter districts counted thus far. Another comfortable one for the ANC there, 63.9%. And then we've got the DA sitting at 16.6%, EFF coming in at 10.6% there in the Free State. And then you've got the FF Plus coming in at 4%, and the other parties combined sitting at 4.6%. That's based on a 63% voter turnout there. Right, let's then cross live to Bloemfontein, where our reporter Palesa Moeti is at the IEC Election Centre at the moment. Palesa, good evening to you. Take us through what's been going on throughout the day there.
Well, we're at the Results Operation Center here in Bloemfontein, and yes, the results continue to trickle in. We are now standing at about 60% of voting districts whose results have been compiled, put together, they're literally finalized. But obviously, you know, the capturing process is still ongoing. We still have the ANC firmly in the lead with just over 60% of the votes, with the DA still as the official opposition. But just joining us right now is political analyst Dr. Choice Makgeta, and we're just going to talk about, you know, what was expected and perhaps just going forward, you know, what we can expect still in the Free State. Dr. Choice, thank you very much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Just take us through, you know, what is it that we were really looking at, you know, before coming into these elections? What is it that, you know, perhaps the people of the Free State were hoping to see?
I think before this election, there was sort of a feeling and a sense that the ANC vote would sort of go down a bit. The surprise for us, more than anything, is Freedom Front Plus. And what we are seeing now is that, in fact, all the parties have actually gained in this election. When you look at a DA being a still official opposition party now at 60% of the voting districts covered, you get a sense that they will remain strong. And what is interesting with the DA is that the conservative white vote moved back to Freedom Front Plus, and you would expect that DA would lose, but instead DA gained as well. DA and EFF actually gained from the ANC vote somehow. What is interesting with Freedom Front Plus, and I think it gained from smaller parties, just the debates, you know, the issue of land, the issue of language, those concerns build up to make sure that the Freedom Front Plus recollects itself to build a strong opposition, because it's not just in the Free State. In fact, it's amazing that Freedom Front Plus has actually made it strong in many provinces.
Before the elections, opposition parties were talking about, you know, coalitions, possibly entering into a coalition government. But you know, with what we are seeing now, well, it's still early hours. But is that something that you think would still be feasible or not really? Do you believe that the ANC has got a tight grip on the Free State?
Well, we still have two big municipalities that are still to be captured. But it does not look like there will be coalition. But political parties must always be ready to work together. They must always be ready to compromise and look at what is common among them to work together. Because along the way, life requires that they are able to work together. But at this point, ANC is comfortable where it is to say they have the majority they need, but that does not mean they should not be working well with other political parties. In fact, we need more than anything right now a strong opposition, and we are excited to see DA and EFF and Freedom Front Plus building up that stronger opposition. It would have been nice to have the official opposition really, really strong.
And then we're seeing a lot of new parties also coming into the fore. I mean, with the previous elections, we had about 16 parties contesting. Now it's 28. What does the emergence of these smaller parties mean?
I think the emergence of these smaller parties mean people were looking for alternatives. You know, people start other political parties because they are not happy where they are, and there are those issues that are not well represented that they feel should be lifted into the discourse. And they should not be discouraged even if they don't make it this time around. But ATM, I think ATM in the Free State is at about 5 or 6 political party. There will be those that make it with 1 seat or so, but they should not give up, because building a political party from scratch is a lot of work, and people should not give up on the first round. Our democracy allows for that kind of representation.
What can these newer parties learn from perhaps a party like your COPE, for instance? You know, break away from the ANC. It has experienced its own fair share of problems.
I think what the smaller parties can learn from COPE and from EFF, actually, because these are two different cases, is that as a political party you must define your agenda clearly right from the beginning. And as a party, you must be prepared to actually go to elections, internal elections of the party, before you go to national elections, so that leadership is very clear, there are no doubts and things, and you sell your message very well to the people. Because with COPE took up very well. But you remember we had Shilowa and we had Tera Lekota, powerful leaders who sadly at the first conference could not decide on elections, and people really wanted the party to stabilize and go for elections, and from there it went down. But now when you look at EFF, when EFF launched, they were ready to go to elections. They wanted to get to national elections solid and strong, and go to national elections with a membership that has taken part in deciding who's going to lead them beyond national elections.
Now, lastly, let's look at the issue of women in politics. Where do you think women are going to be fitting in this government that will be coming in?
Women will fit in well everywhere, and I think we should actually congratulate the ANC right from the beginning, when nobody was thinking of balancing the 50-50 representation of women. But when you look at the parties, the different parties, when you go through their party lists, you see representation of women. We have women who are very strong. We have women who understand what they want in political leadership. They have the skills, they have the expertise, and I think they will make their own space in political life. And I'm glad that there are even those political parties that put that running for premiership. I mean, as much as DA, for instance, is going to be the official opposition, if everything goes that way right up to the end, to take the courage and put a woman and say, for the Free State, we're actually putting a woman to lead. That for us, it's a win.
Thank you very much, Dr. Choice Makgeta.
It's a pleasure.
That is political analyst Dr. Choice Makgeta, just emphasizing the very important role that women have to play in, leadership in the Free State. With the ANC already having taken the lead to make sure that women are put out there, and also followed by the DA, making sure that women have a place in politics, but also just highlighting that the newcomers, the new political parties need to develop their own identity in order to find a space within South African politics. But with that, it's back to you in studio.
Thank you very much, Palasa. Certainly an important one, that about the role of women in politics, and we certainly hope this time around that we will see bigger representation of women. Right, and